Yeah, Republicans have made pretty clear over the last couple of weeks who they are and who they're loyal to. Joining us now, Democratic Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill of New Jersey. She's a United States Navy veteran and a member of the House Armed Services Committee. Congresswoman Sherrill, it's good to see you today. You said yesterday you got up speaking on behalf of H.R. 3233 to create this January 6th commission. Talked about the importance of it in healing the country. Why do you think this is an important step? And what do you say to the Republicans who voted against it?
Good morning, Willie. Yeah, this is something I have been fighting for since right after January 6th. Much of the legislation I've proposed is in the commission bill, which I was happy to see. From the start, I said it has to be bipartisan for this country to have faith in that commission, to see it as outside the political partisan games that sometimes occur here. And as we've seen some of the false narratives and the misinformation continuing to come out of Washington, out of the Republican Party, I think it's important that we have a bipartisan, independent commission to address this. Well, as you know, I'm from North Jersey. A lot of people who were affected, some who died in 9/11. That commission, I think, was important to helping the nation understand the events of that day, what led up to them, how we could as a nation protect ourselves, and then how we can heal going forward. And I hope this January 6th commission can do the same.
Congresswoman, it's Jonathan Lemire, and certainly you've just stressed why this is important, why you believe this commission is needed. But I'd like to get your reaction to what we've seen the last day or so, where, yes, there were 30-odd members of the Republican Party in the House who voted for it. But with Senate Republican leader McConnell coming out against it, this faces a real uphill climb in the Senate to actually happen. So what's your take on that? And if the Senate says no to this, what happens next? Where should we go from here?
It was such a tough night last night, because here you have 35 brave people who would just tell you that they weren't brave. They were just really putting their oath to the Constitution first, putting the country first, who came out and said, of course, we need a bipartisan, independent commission to address the worst attack on our nation's capital in our history, an attack incited by the President of the United States against members of Congress as we were trying to certify the elections to protect our democracy. And yet it was also really troubling to me. We had 175 members vote against a bipartisan, independent commission negotiated by John Katko, who had been deputized by Kevin McCarthy, a back-and-forth negotiation. And we thought, many of us in Congress, that we had gotten to a place where we could all agree on it and, again, start to heal the nation. And, I've taken, as I've probably said on this program, numerous oaths to the Constitution as an officer in the Navy, as somebody at the U.S. Attorney's Office, and my last two oaths to Congress. But every single person in the House of Representatives has taken that same oath, and they owe it to this nation to look into the events of January 6th and make sure it never happens again.
So, Congresswoman, I wanted to ask you about the DCCC's post-mortem from the 2020 election, something obviously that I know you and other Democrats in swing districts have to be looking at closely. Their conclusions seemed to be that, first of all, there was bad polling, but to be fair, there was really bad polling on both sides. Republicans were expecting to get wiped out in the House even the weekend before the election. But also, I think rightly, a lot of focus was paid to the defund the police message, the socialism message that Democrats rolled their eyes at, but voters listened to. What are people like yourself who are in swing districts, competitive districts, doing to make sure that your voters know that you support the police, you support funding the police, you support free enterprise? Is there anything in place in the Democratic Party to make sure that people in swing districts are diffusing that message and letting voters know it doesn't line up with their own personal beliefs?
So certainly a lot of us in our own personal districts are working very hard to show through our legislative record the money that we're putting towards the police departments, how much we support our police. I think the vote last night was critical in our support of the police. We saw Capitol Hill police officers putting out a letter saying, please, this vote supports us and is important to us. And so I think that is something that many of us care about, making sure that our businesses know that we want our small businesses, our communities to thrive, ensuring again and again and again that we put money towards PPP loans, that we've done the Restaurants Act, the Save Our Stages Act that we've put into the American Rescue Plan, focusing on getting people back up on their feet, that's critical to us. I'm not a socialist. I don't think many people in the Democratic Party are, but that is something that I think we need to work through the work in Congress, through the work we're doing to get the country back up on its feet. That will be shown by our work. And I think something that I've always said is just let me run on jobs and the economy. I'm working so hard on all of the issues that people care about. I love the Equality Act. I care deeply about many of our social issues. But when we are in a pandemic, when we have seen some of the worst economic numbers over the past year as we've tried to combat that, we have got to get people safe, secure jobs. And I think what we're doing now is not just building those safe, secure jobs to get the country back to where we were, but as Biden would say, building the country back better, making sure people in the new economy feel more secure than ever.
Congresswoman, you have good relationships with many Republicans inside your caucus. You're not a harsh partisan. I'm curious what you make of the state of play in the building where you're standing right now, not just on this January 6th commission, but more broadly. When you talk to people privately, they say, yeah, we probably should have a January 6th commission, but I don't want to stick my neck out and be the one who votes for it and raise the ire of Donald Trump or raise the ire of his voters. I can't do that and also keep my job. What is it like trying, at least, to work with Republicans right now with the specter of Donald Trump looming over everything?
I guess that's in part why some of the news last night was quite good news to me, because some of the members that I really respect and I've gotten to know, and I know they're working hard for the country, were among those who voted for the commission. And it's easy to say, oh, well, of course they voted for a bipartisan independent commission. But the Republican Party is not known for running a loose ship, shall we say. And that was, I think, important for them to put this country first, and I was glad to see they did that. It continues to be tough when you hear that January 6th was a tourism event. I'm shocked by that narrative and this continued attempt to whitewash the events of that day for political purposes. I think if this nation is going to heal, if we're going to protect our democracy, if we're going to create a more resilient democracy, we have to address the events of that day, and that should be something that every single member of Congress wants to do.
Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill of New Jersey, always great to have you on. Thanks for being here this morning. We appreciate it.